And these are examples of crops that we grow in Zambia.
Your education. Why is this education and services? So consumers need what a need is and what goods are. Okay. Look at the examples of goods and examples of are. First we write services. Someone who buys goods. So examples of services are says that a consumer travel that a consumer buys. What are some of them? Okay. We'll also look at foods needed by a consumer. We are supposed services now, we've listed them. Okay. Okay, so consumer education, a consumer to be a better buyer. Now, a consumer has to know the rights that they have, okay, of a consumer. Because the information, it gives them huge understanding on different places. They're supposed to know what are these rights. What is it? Right to information. We have services. Okay, then another and services. Goods and services. Again, here things that are goods and services to safety. A variety that they want to buy. So every consumer, they've got right to ask. Then another one, it's no one can force. Okay. Then another is something which is not of to go and complain that no, the thing that I've bought or this bread that's right, they're supposed to go and okay. For example, that they saw, they're not the ones that to respond. Okay. Respond to the trade, then she so ever be educated on that. There, okay. It is also guide a home setup as we're supposed to be aware of this consumer education. Some of the importances, how does it guide? Because it's standing on the goods and services which you are looking. Now we're going to look at consumer. Now we know what are the topics. It's very important because educated on how, very educated on the rights and the questions of a consumer. Outline by answer these questions. So our lesson, we've looked at the definition of, looked at the right, be heard, right, very honest and goods. The thing that we've looked at is the important information to the consumer about goods and services. It also gives services. So that's what we've looked at today. So our lesson will end here.
Look at our
And these are examples of crops that we grow in Zambia and the And these are examples of crops that we grow in Zambia and the livestock. Good afternoon, class. Good afternoon, class.
expression.
Good afternoon, class. And these are examples of crops that we grow in Zambia and the like.
Common topic in grade 12, which is the one which came in 20 step by step. So below is a list of CH4 D the name of the compound has. So when you look at this compound history, so 2, N plus E. Okay, since it is an alkane, it will be methane. Okay. From compounds which we have, and check CH3, then COOH acid. So this D is the one which has got, this is butane, so this is an alkane, which is an alkane too. Okay. So when you look at identify two compounds from the list to the same homologous series. So we have compound A and compound which is the alkanes. So that is for part B. Okay, let's look at part C. Which the same homologous group Okay, so we look at the compounds which you have. So from compound A then to E, which ethanol, and for ethanol you should know which function of ethanol is an alcohol. Okay, and B, C, D, or E. Which one is an alcohol? D, alkene, then E is a carboxylic acid. So here, since the question is saying that state a compound C, and if you were told to name the compound, so this is okay. Then in part 2, molecular of ethanol. So draw it. So here we have this ethanol. Okay, now ethanol, you should come up with 3CH2OH, or we can say molecular formula. Now for ethanol, it has got 2 carbons, so and the carbon should be bonded to each other. So the first carbon is bonded to this next carbon. Okay, we have 3 hydrogens. Then the other 2 hydrogens, we have to put the displayed molecular structure of, or if you want 2 hydrogens, then the functional group, which is the O. Okay, so in part D, related. Okay, so we should give the okay. So the compound here from so for the unsaturated hydrocarbons here we refer to the alkanes bond in their structure. Then here it is the since we are saying that we should give, so compound D is unsaturated and unsaturated it. So you can prove this when we say hydrogens. So we have 3 hydrogens, carbon becomes stable, and also this one becomes this carbon, since it has got 3 bonds, so 2 hydrogens. You check the next one has got 4, and the compound D is 2. We should describe the chemical tests for the unsaturated test, or the test to which brown bromine is brown bromine water. So meaning that when you have a brown bromine, in this bromine water will disappear in the arise water. Best or bromine water, after you add an associated hydrogen, the test for this question is in, we are saying that compound A or H. Okay, so then H. So when you look at this, so this is a carboxylic acid. Now, what you have this one carbon, so this is the first carbon, compounds under organic chemistry. Okay, so it should start with the acid. Carboxylic acid, they should end with the acid. Now, when you look at this, since we have said that they should, so this now for this question, we are saying test. Acid. So this is now what is the acid? What is the, so the very test which you looked at is simply it turns up blue red, meaning that when it will become red in color. So that's the test which came in November 2013. So we'll look at, we'll say we go to in 2014. So what you want is just to equip you with some, this one is from November. So the question here will in those as they ripen, use ethene. Then in part A, structural formula in. For ethene, we are saying the molecular formula is C2, then 4 carbon which is bonded to the next hydrogen to 1 carbon. So this carbon will have hydrogens. Now remember, this ethene is bond. So you can see that the structural formula of it will have this side is SF as the question. Now let's go to the next part, which series ethene. Okay, so we should so to which family does this compound Ne? So ending with E, which homologous say kin. They end with E and last 3 letters as series. So ethene belongs to the alkene of B. We'll say of and fifth, this homologous, a fifth member of this series which we are discussing about here is the alkane. So we are saying that for the fourth, meaning that here what we have is the alkane NH2N carbon atoms. We'll just replace from this. So since we are saying that N is equal to N, so this now will become C4. This is for, okay, now H2N, we'll just replace N2 times 5. So this is now H10. Okay, so alkenes, and the formula for alkenes, they conform to this carbons, 4 carbon atoms, and you use 5H10. And look at part C. Okay, so part major, but obtained. And then the method comes from ethane. From ethene, that's where we can get ethene. Now the method, okay. So ethane is a big. So this ethane is going to be broken down is ethene. So when we crack, we are saying that this is cracking. Very big large hydrocarbons are broken down to produce it, and they're going to produce ethene. So 2 carbons, then 4 hydrogens, then another 2 hydrogens. So here you have 2 plus 4 giving you 6. So meaning that this side the hydrogens which you have, they are equal to 6, and this side the hydrogen which you have, they are equal to 6. Okay, so under cracking, the number of carbon atoms which you have for the reactant part should be equal to the number of carbon atoms for the products part, and the same to the hydrogen. So that's why here we have hydrogen 6 for the reactant side and the hydrogen 6 for the product side. So here we are simply saying that the source of ethene is ethane, and the method in which you can obtain ethene is by cracking. So you crack ethane to produce ethene. So this is the equation. So ethane then undergoes cracking to produce ethene and the hydrogen gas. So this ethene is now produced here. Okay, so the method is cracking. Okay, let's move on and look at part D. So let me just slap this part. Okay, so part D, we'll say 2 of the substances made from ethene are shown below. So we have got substance R, and this is hydrogen bonded to carbon, then this carbon bonded to these 2 hydrogens, then another carbon, then this has got OH and H. Then we have got substance S. So this substance S has got H, then we have 4 carbons. Okay, we have got 4 carbons. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So and bondage to hydrogens. Okay. So this question is in 2 parts. So the first part, we should name substance R and S. Okay, so we should first name the 2 substances which we have. We have got substance R and we have got S. Okay, when you look at substance R, so here we have 2 carbons bonded to, this carbon is bonded to OH and the 2 hydrogens, and this has got 3 hydrogens. Okay, so when you look at this structure which we have, so this is the structural formula, and we can come up with a molecular formula for this. So for the molecular formula, what you have is you have 2 carbons So since you have got 2 carbons, we'll say C2. Okay, now look at the number of hydrogens which you have. So here you have 1, 2, 3, then 4, 5. Okay, so don't first count the number of hydrogens looking at this. Okay, so you should first omit this. So here we have CH, this is 5, then so this is the functional group, so this is OH. So this is the structural formula, then this is the molecular formula. Okay, now you look at how many carbons you have. So since here we are saying that you have 2 carbons, so meaning that the name of this substance will start with eth. Okay, it will start with eth. Then you look at which functional group is this. So here you have the OH. So the OH, which is the hydroxyl, that is the functional group of alcohols. Okay, now for alcohols, so since it is an alcohol, alcohols end with the ano. Okay, so they end with the ano. So this is where you can observe that this which you have is an alcohol. So since this compound has got 2 carbons, so it will start with the eth, then we'll add the ano. Okay, so this is, we have added ano. So you can now read this as ethanol. So this is ethanol. So compound R, that is ethanol. Okay, let's look at compound S. So for compound S, you look at how many carbons you have in the structure. So you have got 1, 2, 3, 4. So compound S, for S, so you have a carbon, you have 4. Then the hydrogens, you count the number of hydrogens which you have. So let's start with this one. So we'll say 1, then so this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So the hydrogens you have 10. Okay, now this compound which you have, which is C4, then H10. To which homologous series does this belong? Okay, so the homologous series to which this belong is the alkanes. So alkane. So with the formula CnH2n plus 2. Okay, so you can prove this. Here we are saying that our N is 4. Our N is 4. So from this formula we have C. So you can replace N with 4. So we say 4, then H, 2, then N, remember is 4, we'll say 2 times 4, then plus 2. Okay, so this now becomes a C4, then here 2 times 2 will give us 8, so H, then 8 plus 2, so we'll now have a C4H10. Okay, so this is an alkane. Now for the alkane with 4 carbons, okay, so it has got 4 carbons. Let me just erase this part. Okay, so this compound has got 4 carbons. Now remember, for the one with 1 carbon, so it starts with the meth. The one with 2 carbons starts with the eth. Then the one with 3 carbons starts with the prop. Then for 4 it starts with the but. Then for 5 starts with the pent. Okay, so for 1 carbon it is meth, 2 carbons starts with eth, then 3 prop, then 4 is but, then 5 carbons starts with the pent. Now this has got 4 carbons. So since it has got 4 carbons, meaning that it will start with the but. Okay, so for the name we'll start with but. Now you look at which homologous series does this belong. This is an alkane, and alkanes end with A and E. So end with A and E. So to this but you just add A and E. Okay, now we can read this as butane. So this is butane. So compound S in this case is butane. Okay, so we have given the names of compound R, which is ethanol, and compound S, which is butane. Okay, let's look at the last part of this question. So this question, the last part is state one use of substance S. State one use of substance S. Okay, so substance S, that is butane. Okay, now what give one use of butane. Okay, so you should remember that these compounds which are looking at here, they are hydrocarbons. Okay, and mostly the most important for the hydrocarbons, they are simply used as fuels. Okay, so they are simply used as a fuel. Okay, remember for these, even the fuels which we normally use, fuels for example petroleum and diesel, they are also products of crude oil. So, and crude oil is a hydrocarbon. Okay, so when they ask you to give one use of any hydrocarbon, one of the most common use is they are used as fuels. Okay, so we are saying that used as a fuel. So substance S, which is butane, is used as a fuel. So that is the most common answer which you can give for the use of the hydrocarbons. Okay, so we have looked at two questions from the past papers. So we started with the one for 2013, and we have ended with the one for 2014. Okay, now I've got one question that came from it came in 2019 GCE. So that's the question which I'll give you so that you can try and work on your own. Okay, so this question, we are saying that it came in August 2019. So August 2019. So here the question is the series of processes below shows the links to the formation